I'll be speaking briefly about vaginal yeast infection, which is the vaginal candida. It is a very common type of infection that can be found in both men and in women, but I'll be speaking about in the women part, and that is in the vagina. And the vaginal yeast infection, firstly, I want you to know that it is a common type of infection. It is caused by albicans fungus, which is present in the body, but when there's an overgrowth of this fungus, that is when it becomes a problem. So the vaginal yeast infection is caused by the Candida albicans fungus, and overgrowth of it is what causes a problem. Another point is this vaginal yeast infection is not usually sexually transmitted. In fact, many people who have it didn't get it through sex, but it is said that it can be transmitted after sex with an infected person. The third thing is that women who have had this yeast infection before are more likely to have it. So there's a recurrence for women who have had it in the past. So if you've had vaginal yeast infection, there's a possibility that you can have it again and again. The vaginal yeast infection has several symptoms. I'll be mentioning few. The first one I'll talk about is the burning sensation, especially during sexual intercourse. The person who has this infection is prone to having severe pains while having sexual intercourse or while urinating. Another symptom is the vaginal itch, as well as itching or irritation around the vulva. The person might discover some itching or irritation around vulva. At times, it might not occur on the vulva, it might occur on other parts of the body. Another symptom is the reddish and swelling of the vulva, vaginal pain, soreness, thick white, odor-free discharge with a cottage cheese appearance. These are symptoms of the vaginal yeast infection. So if you've experienced some of the symptoms I mentioned, or you are experiencing some of the symptoms I mentioned, it is advisable you see a doctor, run a test, and commence treatment immediately. There are other infections which I'll be talking about in my next video, but before I go, I want to clarify something. The vaginal yeast infection cannot be gotten from a public toilet. It is not gotten from a public toilet. The vaginal yeast infection is caused by the Candida albicans fungus, and this fungus is present in the body. It is when there's an outgrowth or an overgrowth of this fungus, that is when vaginal yeast infection occurs. So it is not gotten from a public toilet. There are other infections that can be gotten or through sexual intercourse and through other means that I'll be discussing in my next video. But vaginal yeast infection is not gotten from a public toilet. It can be transmitted through sexual intercourse.